Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that have the ability to see us right now, it is Dr. Jordan Morton, and we are discussing gut health, its importance, and its implications today. Jord, this is a big one.
Yeah.
This is particularly as it pertains to immunity. I think that a lot of people are just starting to understand the connection between gut health and immunity. So I am excited for you. I'm not going to take the spotlight. I want to let you rock and roll. So you're good to go, my friend. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. Yeah. So like Dr. Doyle said, gut health is a huge one. I was trying to plan and put this together and trying to think what are the most important things we can get into. And it's a little overwhelming, to be honest with you, this to be broken up into, a few months of educational content. So I'm trying to get the high yield stuff down here today, some of the things that you might be able to digest, think about, and take home and implement to improve your gut health, and maybe just give you something, some food for thought to think about what you can do to make some changes to affect your overall health. So before I get into that, I do just want to give a huge thank you to everybody who showed some interest in the 2-week plant-based nutrition program. I know I said last week that I was going to open it up to 10 people, but the response was overwhelming, honestly, and I didn't want to limit it to anybody. So as of now, we're sitting at over 100 people who are interested in joining the program. So I am pumped. I'm so excited that many people are interested in trying plant-based, giving it a go, and using nutrition as a tool to optimize their health. So I'm super excited. Today I'm going to be rolling out the email that's going to be inviting people to a Facebook group and to create their profile and start customizing their nutrition program. If you didn't get in on it last week and you're still interested, shoot me an email, drmorton@backfit.ca, and I will add you to the list and get you onto the platform, and we'll get everything rolling for you. The emails going out today are going to get people set up so that they can grocery shop, plan, prep, and do everything to get started on May 4th. So that's next Monday. I wanted to give a little bit of lag time in there just because times are a little crazy right now, and it might take a bit of extra effort and time to, plan to go out, do your grocery shop, limit the amount of time you actually have to leave the house, as we're still really doing our best to maintain social distancing. So there's still some time. We're starting up next Monday. Shoot me a message if you want to be involved. And I can't wait to start. It's going to be great. Okay, so gut health. Yeah, just a little bit of an important topic. This goes all the way back to Hippocrates, the father of medicine. So 23-ish hundred years ago, he said all disease starts in the gut, and he kind of nailed it. I know, working with Kairos, we really do focus on the spine and the nervous system, but naturopathic doctors, we really do take the approach that the gut is one of the most important body systems that we can focus on to achieve and maintain overall health. NDs pretty much always ask people about their digestion, their diets, and their bowel movements. So poop comes up in pretty much every consult that I have. It doesn't always make sense to patients. So I was like, why are we talking about my gut when I've got osteoarthritis or I've got headaches? Because it really can play a huge pivotal role in your overall health. So oftentimes we get fascinating insights to help understand other conditions once we can understand what's happening in the gut. I've had some really cool cases improve or resolve once we get digestion functioning properly, or just by making some changes to the diet and taking out foods that are insulting the gut and causing some of that inflammation. It might be one of those things where the primary issue is eczema, psoriasis, headaches, joint pain, irritable mood, fatigue, depression. And, we do a bunch of work specifically on that, but oftentimes we clean the gut up too. And over the course of the treatment protocol, people say, yeah, my original problem has improved, and also my digestion is better, my bowel movements are more normal, or I'm not constipated anymore. And it's really cool to hear those kind of things tie in with the underlying problem and gut health. So if you have ever experienced, gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, any kind of gut issues, this might resonate with you. If you haven't, be grateful that you haven't, because it can be a huge issue maker and problem in people's lives that can disrupt our social activities. It changes our mood. It can really interfere with our activities of daily life. So digestion and gut health is a huge, huge thing. So how does someone end up with a damaged gut and end up with some of these problems. There's a myriad of ways that this can happen. Just kind of go through a quick rundown of some of them. Right off the top, it can be a congenital thing. You might be born with just some genetic predispositions that cause you to be more susceptible to gut damage or leaky gut. You could be born via C-section, which means you miss out on a big dose of microbes from mom. There's all sorts of really interesting research looking at the differences between vaginal deliveries and C-section deliveries and health outcomes within those babies. There is the huge issue of overuse of antibiotics, NSAIDs, like anti-inflammatories, and antacids. All three of those things can result in big changes in your gut. People who have had chronic infections or who have been to the hospital a handful of times and they end up getting penicillin or any other kind of antibiotic, those things are essentially like nuclear bombs in your digestive tract, and they wipe out all of your bad bacteria, all of your good bacteria, and they can really set you up for some issues with your gut health. Chronic stress and having poor parasympathetic tone of your nervous system, which is the rest and digest side of things, is a big issue too. So people who are always just like in that fight or flight, revved up kind of state of being, their body's not going to be able to actually calm down, relax, and digest the food that they're trying to eat. So sometimes people see undigested food in their stools. Sometimes they end up with food sensitivities because the proteins aren't digesting properly. There's all sorts of things that can happen because of that. Exposure to environmental toxins and pesticides like glyphosate, that's a big one. Lots of interesting research going on with that. I'm not going to get into the GMO, non-GMO, organic, non-organic kind of thing, but it's pretty well established that glyphosate can wreak havoc on our guts. It can cause something called intestinal permeability or leaky gut and cause a wide range of problems after that. So pesticides and environmental toxins are definitely a big deal. On top of that, when it comes to food, this is probably the biggest one. A diet that is rich in processed and refined foods, some diets that have tons of saturated fats from animal products, diets that lack fiber, and things that have lots of food additives like emulsifiers and artificial sweeteners. Those are all things that are going to set you up for gut problems as well. So those are some of the bigger ones that we kind of see. Obviously travel. If you've been somewhere exotic and you come home with what we call like a little friend, a little bug in your gut, that happens oftentimes. So usually we like to dig into travel history and see, did somebody go to Thailand and their digestion just hasn't been the same ever since. That's a big clue as to what's happening in there. So all of these things, they can result in gut damage. This can be overgrowth of bad bacteria, intestinal permeability or leaky gut, which essentially means things are getting through those the gut lining that shouldn't be getting through. Decreased digestive enzymes, poor absorption of nutrients, and much more. So there's lots of different ways that this can affect people. Before I get into some of the things that we can do to help our gut out, I just want to hit on a few interesting facts about the gut just to reinforce the importance of it and why we want you to focus on your gut health so much. So first one is inflammation. Obviously, working at Backfit, we see lots of chronic pain, chronic inflammation, and the gut can actually play a big role in this. So I was at a conference last year, and one of the jokes, which, there's not always a lot of good jokes at these conferences, but one of the ones that I actually liked was that the gut is not Vegas. So what happens in the gut does not stay in the gut. It travels all over the body. If you have inflammation happening in the gut from bacterial overgrowth, permeability, or food sensitivities, this is going to show up somewhere else. Oftentimes, we'll say that the skin and the joints are reflections of what's happening in the gut, and that's true. So if there is inflammation happening here, oftentimes it'll show up on the skin as eczema or psoriasis. Personally, I experience that I get a little bit of scalp psoriasis if my diet hasn't been quite right, something that I've dealt with my entire life. Some people experience it as joint pain. I'm not necessarily saying that gut inflammation is causing your osteoarthritis. Years of wear and tear, injuries, that's going to be oftentimes the root cause. But your gut inflammation could be exacerbating that joint inflammation and making it worse than it should be. Hormone production and elimination. We talked a little bit last week about serotonin and dopamine production. Interestingly, serotonin, the happy hormone, about 90% of it is made in our gut. So, if we're unhappy, if our gut is unhappy, What do you think is happening to us, right? So the gut can play a huge role in our overall mood. When it comes to elimination of hormones, the liver and our gallbladder is responsible for excreting excessive estrogen. So if we have an underperforming gallbladder or liver, or if we've had a gallbladder removal, it could result in excess estrogen stored up in the body. So that's something that we want to keep in mind. The vagus nerve, or cranial nerve 10, it's a direct link between the brain and our gut. And so while the gut actually does have its own nervous system called the enteric nervous system, and it is larger than, or has more cells than the brain and the spinal cord put together, which I think is super fascinating, the link of the vagus nerve is crucial. 9% of the vagus nerve fibers go up from the gut to the brain, so there's a constant communication between the gut and the brain about what is happening down here. Once again, this is an indicator about just how foundational our gut health is and how it reflects on our mental and emotional state, right? I also love this idea because I think it really gives power to the idea of trusting your gut, which is really your second brain. The microbiome, this is something that is so interesting and I think it's so cool. The last 5 or 10 years, there's been an explosion of research on the microbiome, and we're still just kind of like at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to that. The microbiome is a collection of cells in your gut, and there's actually more bacterial cells in your gut than there is cells of you in your entire body. Right, and just digest that for a sec. There's about 40 trillion bacterial cells versus 30 trillion you cells. So we are more bacteria than we are ourselves. I think that is fascinating. These bacteria, they do a ton of different jobs. They digest everything from breast milk as a baby to all the food that we eat as adults. They provide our gut cells with energy and nutrients. They control the immune system. Like Dr. Doyle said at the start, we're just like tapping in and realizing now the importance of our gut health and our immune system. 70% of our immune system is in our gut. So it's crucial, absolutely crucial, that we take our gut health seriously if we're taking our immune health seriously. The microbiome, it can decrease inflammation, it can help to control our weight, it controls blood sugar regulation, it controls satiety and fullness, it can even help prevent heart disease. There's specific strains of bacteria that are tied to all of these aspects, and more research is coming out looking at what we should be eating with, supplementing with, and doing for our gut health so that we can have the best health possible. The point is, this is about a 5-pound organ in our body that is doing a ton of different jobs and that we need to respect and try to have be as healthy as possible. Okay, so what can we do to support our gut health and make sure everything is functioning properly? So this is just kind of some general recommendations. If you have really severe gut issues, I'm talking, mucus, blood, really bad constipation, things that require immediate care, talk to your doctor, talk to me, speak to a health professional. These kinds of ideas, these are things that are going to be working well for people with a little bit of gas, bloating, maybe the occasional constipation, diarrhea, just, general stomach upset. But sometimes these small things can go, they can have profound effects. So try them out. The number one thing that people can do, in my mind, to improve their gut health is to start doing a food journal. So this is super simple, just a 7-day journal, what you ate for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, what you drank, water, coffee, tea, alcohol, anything and everything, and then having a symptom chart as well, just describing how you felt on each day, and then trying to look and thinking like, oh, I ate 2 peanut butter sandwiches and the next morning my digestion was absolutely terrible. This can be something that we can use to start figuring out what foods really don't sit well with us. And once we do, we take those foods out and then we see how we feel. Number 2, try to eat as little refined and processed foods as possible. I think that I mentioned this with, pretty much anything that I talk about. We're looking at trying to eat foods as close to nature as we can, foods in their natural state, foods without preservatives, additives, those emulsifiers and artificial sweeteners, trying to stay away from those. So really eating a whole foods, plant-based diet, that's going to be your best bet. Relax before eating is number 3. Sit, calm yourself, take a few breaths, try to drop into that parasympathetic state so that your body can actually prime itself to digest. It'll start to secrete some of those digestive enzymes and just make eating a more enjoyable and pleasant experience. Don't have the TV blaring. Try to not be multitasking, getting work done at the same time. Really try to make your mealtime a sacred time. Sit, relax, and enjoy it. This also activates something called the cephalic phase of eating. So cephalic is meaning our head or our brain. And so we're actually looking at our food, we're thinking about our food, we're smelling our food, using all of our senses, and that's going to start to stimulate the body to actually get into that digestive phase. So utilize the cephalic phase of eating. If you're looking for a little bit of extra help when it comes to digestion, you can try out a couple things. Number one is apple cider vinegar. I often recommend this, 1 to 2 tablespoons about 10 minutes before a meal. If you like the taste, you can just pop it down the hatch, or oftentimes people mix it into water. So 1 or 2 tablespoons mixed into water and then drink that down. Alternatively, you can give digestive enzymes a try. So you can pick up digestive enzymes at pretty much any health food store, and this will give you a little bit of help in breaking that food down, alleviating some of the stress on your body, and just making digestion an easier experience. So that was number 4. Number 5, probiotics. So I've seen probiotics do some pretty remarkable things. Oftentimes we'll start with that or try that out and just see if we can get a bit of a shift in the microbiome. It's not always, it's not a cure-all. A lot of people take probiotics every single day for months or years on end, and I don't necessarily recommend that. Probiotics can make some big changes, but you really want to be careful in not getting stuck in that trap of just taking probiotics every single day because you read it in an article or heard me talk about it. You can be specific when it comes to probiotics. You can have specific strains for specific conditions. So really, I usually say give them a try, but sometimes it'll help to chat with somebody, myself, another naturopathic doctor, healthcare practitioner, who can point you in the right direction of a specific probiotic that is going to be right for you. One thing I do recommend, though, is take Probiotics Traveling. I think probiotics are a fantastic thing to take traveling, just making sure they are shelf stable, which means they don't have to be kept in a fridge. So you can carry them in your bag, and anywhere you are, just take 1 or 2 probiotics a day just to make sure that you have good, healthy bacteria going through your digestive tract while you're traveling. Prebiotics, aka different types of fiber, are super important as well. It is one thing to have the right bacteria in our gut. It's another thing to actually feed those bacteria the right foods. So an increased variety of fruits, veggies, grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, this kind of fiber is going to feed those bacteria, allow them to multiply and grow, and we're going to have diverse colonies of good, beneficial probiotic bacteria in our guts if we feed them the right things. A few other supplements that I recommend that can sometimes be helpful in sort of helping out that leaky gut or dysbiosis kind of a situation. Vitamin D, omega-3s, zinc, and glutamine are 4 different products that I'll get people on if we're looking at a gut healing protocol. Oftentimes we have to make sure we take out the offending foods, handle an underlying infection first, but those are 4 other things that I find really do help to heal the gut up and repair digestion. So those are some of the big ones that I like to start with. If you try these things and nothing really seems to make a difference in your digestive health or your gut health, reach out, shoot me an email, message me in the comments, just get a hold of me somehow, and we can kind of dive into your digestion. We can talk about some advanced lab tests that we can do. We can explore some different options that might be available to you so that we can really kind of get to the root cause of what's happening with your gut and then what we can do to fix it. Start with the basics, and if it doesn't seem to do it, then let's explore it further. This week, I would love to challenge everybody to up their prebiotic intake. So looking at the different types of fiber that you're eating, I usually put the number at 40 different types of fiber for my patients. So we're talking 40 different types of whole foods, fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, grains, legumes on your plate each and every single week. Next time you're at the grocery store, the easiest way to do this, I find, is to look at different fruits and veggies, try something maybe you don't normally eat. Just start diversifying your plate and eating some new foods. So I'd love for everybody to focus on that. And if you eat something new that you love, maybe comment down below or shoot me a message and say, hey, I tried papaya finally and it was amazing. Love it. Thanks. That'd be really cool. And also, just to wrap up, there is still time to get in on that 2-week plant-based program. There's going to be an email going out today, but even if you miss it and you see this, Thursday or Friday, we can still get you in there and get you eating lots of wonderful, delicious plant-based foods. So shoot me a message, Dr. Morton at backfit.ca, and we will get you signed up. Okay, have a great day. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and make sure that you tune in on Friday for another Facebook Live with Dr. Bentham and Bartlett, I believe. Take care. Have a good one.